77 WABC invites you to a family fun day and softball showdown on July 20th with net proceeds benefiting Shriners Children's. John Sterling will call the game as the FDNY takes on the NYPD with special guests Dwight Gooden, Art Shamsky, 77 WABC hosts including Sid Rosenberg, Anthony Cumia, Lionel, Dominic Carter, and many more. For more info and to buy tickets, go to ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org. That's ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Anthony Cumia here. I am in for the vacationing Bill O'Reilly. Or is it Bill O'Reilly is on assignment? I'm Anthony Cumia for Common Sense, which is pretty funny when you think about it. Putting a former shock jock in Bill O'Reilly's pretty news-heavy slot and then calling it Common Sense. But I am pleased as punch, as they say, to be here and honored to be filling the seat for this week for the great Mr. Bill O'Reilly on Common Sense. I want to start off with some people that do not have much common sense. We all know them. We've seen them over the course of the years, and common sense is really the last word or phrase that would come to mind when thinking of these people. I'm talking about Hollywood celebrities. Oh, yes, we all remember the Hollywood celebrity from days of old, don't we? When they were amazing. They were almost superhero-like. We watched them in movies, on television, on the various, not even various talk shows. What was there? Johnny Carson, The Tonight Show. Your favorite celebrity would come on and sit down with Johnny, and they'd banter back and forth. And you know what they talked about? Where they were opening in Vegas. What movie was coming out. And then they talk about going, they might have a humorous anecdote about hooking up with another celebrity at a restaurant. And you'd hear him talk to Johnny, and they'd use names we weren't familiar with these celebrities. Oh, yeah, I went to a dinner with Chuck Heston the other night. I'm like, Charlton? Charlton Heston? Oh, yeah. Bob Mitchum. Me and Bob Mitchum, and it was amazing. You watched this, and it was another world of people that, maybe I had a bit of an inferiority complex, but I think a lot of people felt they were just a little better than you. They were doing something amazing, something you would love to do, something people aspire to, fame, fortune. If you're a guy, you're an actor, you're dating the most beautiful women in the world, and everyone wanted to know about it. Those days are gone. No one cares about what these people are doing anymore. And even worse, we can't stand them. It's not even apathy. We look at these celebrities, people to be celebrated, and we cannot stand them. And growing up, I remember even, I don't know how long ago the mystique wore off. I don't know exactly when chronologically it happened, but I could tell you that it happened when they started opening their yaps about politics and started believing that they should be telling Americans how they should live their lives. That was absolutely when it all started going down the proverbial crapper, as they call it. And it just hasn't stopped. The tarnish on Tinseltown has only gotten worse. They know it. I think previously, I think there were ebbs and flows with Hollywood as far as how the general public thought about them. Usually when some critical things would happen, wars. You remember Katrina, some celebrities came out and started talking about how the government was not treating the victims of Katrina properly, but they really were able to kind of regain their stature as these amazing, wonderful people. And nowadays, we despise them for the most part. There's a few good ones, but for the most part, we cannot stand these people. And it shows because people just aren't going to movies anymore based on a star's name. You have your anomalies. I think Tom Cruise does very well. These Mission Impossible movies he's putting out do very, very well. And I don't think anyone really doesn't like a guy like Tom Cruise. And I'll tell you why. Because he's a weirdo. He's just a weird guy. He could tell you how you should live your life, and you would just go, aren't you a Scientologist? You're just a weird dude. But he makes great movies, and I don't really hear him a lot voicing his opinions on politics and telling people how they should or shouldn't live their lives. But you get some of these celebrities, and they're the most elitist, pompous people. And again, just remembering when they would just be funny on a talk show or make a good movie, and you didn't even know their political affiliation. But now, especially with Trump in office, and they're all bleeding heart liberal. Well, not even bleeding heart. That was a thing back in the 60s when you really did care about somebody. They called them bleeding heart liberals. Now, those liberals wouldn't even recognize what is considered a liberal now. They're off the chain. They're off the rails. They're mental patients and extremists, liars, propaganda tools for the left. Hollywood has always been that. But these days, not even a hint of shame and blatantly lying. I don't know. Years ago, did they really mean what they said? I got to think some of them did, talking about things like the Vietnam War and no nukes, man. But for the most part, you felt they were at least a little passionate about what they talked about. Now it's just lies. And when they talk about it, they have nothing that backs up these lies because, they can't find any facts. And this thing of fear that has come out, they're afraid now. They go out in public and they talk about how fearful they are about what Donald Trump is doing and how detrimental it's going to be to everybody in this country. Now, Trump's been in office, 125, 130, whatever, a little over 100 days. And, the world isn't exploding yet. I get it. A little trouble in Russia and Ukraine, but that's been going on a few years. But, prices are down. They don't want to talk about that. I was passing by some gas stations, very promising. The price of groceries are down. Inflation is down. All the things that we hoped would happen under a Trump administration. And then they just come out and lie about it. And then you got the big, beautiful bill. It's a big, beautiful bill. And they're freaking out about it and lying about it, that it contains things that are going to, and here's what they do. They go to the umpteenth level. Literally kill people. This bill will kill people. All right, how? They never explain how, and they never have proof that any of the legislation in these bills, like the big, beautiful bill, is going to affect people. They just lie about it. We've seen them talk about Medicaid, and it's pathetic. What the Trump administration is doing, and I think normal people with common sense, as the show's title goes, knows that any cuts that have been spoken of by the Trump administration and by Doge with Elon has been waste, corruption. And the amount of it is stunning. But they want to make you believe that if they say we're making cuts to Medicaid or the Veterans Administration, they want to come out and say, oh, they're cutting Medicaid. Grandma isn't going to be able to go to the doctor. She's not going to be able to get her medicine. She's not going to be able to chit-chat with the pharmacist at CVS in front of you for 20 minutes while you're waiting to buy aspirin. But that's what's going on. They blatantly lie about it. And they always, like I just said, they always blow it up to the umpteenth level where it's dangerous. And I find that pretty funny. The celebrities, like I said, they're just propaganda tools, little puppets for the left. And here's a couple of them. Here's Kira Sedgwick. This is Kevin Bacon's wife. You could tell right away that she's a real piece of work because she didn't call herself Kedra Bacon or Kira Bacon, Kira Sedgwick Bacon. I'm not taking your name. I think Kevin Bacon's a little more popular than you. It would probably help you in the long run, but probably one of these, feminists and doesn't want to take her husband's name. And guys in Hollywood are all just beta. I don't care what kind of characters they play on the screen. Big tough guy. And they're all just like, yes, dear. I'm so sorry, Poopsie. Yes, Kira, you don't have to take my name. That's okay. So they're all pathetic. So here's Kira Sedgwick saying she's scared of things like losing her right to vote. This is so out of proportion to what could possibly happen. But listen to this idiot straight out of Hollywood, Kira Sedgwick.
How you doing? I felt like it was important to get on the blower and talk a little bit about how I'm feeling and wondering how you're feeling about the state of our union. I'm finding myself pretty scared about a lot of things, scared about losing my rights as a woman, scared about losing my right to vote as a woman, scared about losing autonomy over my body as a woman, scared of my parents' Social Security checks, scared of food banks running out of food and not being able to replenish because they're no longer getting federal funding. Yes, the federal government can use improvement, and there's a lot of things that they've done right over the decades. So I think the answer to being freaked out for me is about community, and I feel excited that we're coming together as a nation on Saturday. You can look it up in your area. It's Hands Off March.
Shut up.
And
I don't even want to give her a plug. You could shut her down now. I think it happened already, but it doesn't matter. That's Kira Sedgwick. And I love how they talk about community, and then they talk about the food banks. I don't know about the food banks that are going to shut down because the government assistance has been cut off, which, by the way, isn't true either. But let's say it was. Community is supposed to take care of that kind of stuff. And I believe that churches and community organizers that gather food from private people and organizations and businesses around the area do way more to feed homeless people and people that go hungry than the government does. And I think it's a lot more on the up and up. Anytime the government gets involved with handing money down, and it's got to go through some corrupt chain of command, by the time it gets down to a can of soup, getting to a hungry family, it's already been pilfered 50 times over, because anything the government does is just rife with corruption and people that want to line their pockets. So the community, Kira, is supposed to take care of stuff like that. And you don't depend on the government. You want to be this socialist type utopian community, then take care of each other. You got some bucks. I'm sure Kevin Bacon put away some of that footloose money. And go out and take care of it. Get some of your Hollywood friends out there to take care of it, instead of bitching about the fact that the government is cutting programs, which they're not. They're cutting the unbelievable waste and corruption that's going on in this country. But it doesn't suit their political agenda, to put it that way. And it makes them look bad. If anyone's starving within a couple of mile radius of Kira Sedgwick, that seems to me it's Kira Sedgwick's problem. Maybe Kira Sedgwick and company should do a little more for the hungry people within a blast radius of her residence. Step outside your gated house, go to some of these impoverished areas, and hand some stuff out. I've seen it happen where they want to make it look like they're doing something. They go to soup kitchens on Thanksgiving, and the news comes down. Look at Kira Sedgwick. She's ladling out some slop for this disgusting human. Isn't she special? That's what goes on, because it's a photo op. How about you don't tell anybody, and you get in contact with a church or a community group in your area, and you go down there and just put in a couple of days in between auditions that you're not going to get, because how many grandmas need to be cast in movies these days? All right. That was a little below the belt. But, yeah, they all want to just bitch about the government and Trump and, ooh, they got to do this. I'm scared. She's talking about being scared of losing a right to vote? When have we at any time really, and I'm not talking about they're just ripping up the Constitution. When has that happened? Where real constitutional rights, not what people think is a right and is only a privilege, or things like abortion, which isn't a constitutional right. But when has a constitutional right just been snatched from you on, en masse? I've seen it happen, believe me. We just heard from Roger Stone previously before this show, and that guy's his constitutional rights were infringed upon. But en masse, where they just go, hey, every woman, you can now not vote. It just ain't happening. Stop with the fear. They're fear-mongering. The right to our bodies. The right for health care. Reproductive health. Do you know why they have to call it reproductive health? Because abortion repulses everybody. Anyone with common sense should be repulsed by the word. Whether you think abortion should be legal or not, abortion should be repulsive to you. But they say reproductive rights because they want you to think it's more than abortion. And it's not. But those are the rights that Kira Sedgwick is talking about. They're not genuine rights. And no one's trying to take away your actual rights that every American is given by God on the day they're born. So, this, like I said, it's Hollywood. They're propaganda tools for the left. They have no common sense. And we'll focus on another one of these buttes when we come back from this short break. It's Anthony Cumia sitting in for the amazing Bill O'Reilly. This is Common Sense.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
77 WABC invites you to a family fun day and softball showdown on July 20th with net proceeds benefiting Shriners Children's. John Sterling will call the game as the FDNY takes on the NYPD with special guests Dwight Gooden, Art Shamsky, 77 WABC hosts including Sid Rosenberg, Anthony Cumia, Lionel, Dominic Carter, and many more. For more info and to buy tickets, go to ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org. That's ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Yes, Anthony Cumia sitting in for Bill O'Reilly. Common Sense. Bill is he's in China, which is I just find it so funny because I just picture him just stepping over the Great Wall. He's a giant man. Chinese people traditionally are kind of small, so he's definitely sticking out. I bet a lot of people are taking pictures of him over there. But I love Bill, And this is his show, Common Sense, and I am sitting in. As a matter of fact, if you're by a phone and you want to comment on anything, I'm willing to take some calls. 800-848-9222. 800-848-9222. I want to continue a little bit with Hollywood because the glitter has washed away. There was this perception that, they were just the most amazing people. We used to love it. You watch those old newsreels? All right, I've been around a while. Yeah, I watch them on YouTube. I never saw them originally, okay? And, it was just an amazing thing. Here comes Cary Grant walking down the red carpet to his new feature film here at Grauman's Chinese Theater. And you're like, that's fantastic. It's Cary Grant. I don't remember Cary Grant. Or, you know what, another thing I often ponder about old Hollywood, you couldn't just say your movie sucked. Hey, Cary Grant on social media, your movie sucked. You lost it. You're not even good at it. You're a has-been. What the work it must have taken to lay into Cary Grant and tell him he stunk back then. How do you get the address? Cary Grant, care of MGM Studios. And then you had to write a letter and put a stamp on it and mail it and then hope Cary Grant opened it. What does this person have to say about me? Why, I suck. It's just one of those things that nowadays any piece of garbage can just lambaste an actor or a musician. Maybe they deserve it now. Maybe it's good. They decided to open their mouths, and the American people have decided to trash them. So this celebrity, she moved, she left, she put her money, as they say, her money where her big food-eating maw is. Rosie O'Donnell, of course. Rosie O'Donnell. This woman had some career. She went from a mediocre lesbian comic. She did a few movies. Then she got that talk show that was all the rage. They actually called her like Miss Nice because all the talk shows back then were like just nasty. They'd bring someone out and they'd fight. And it was all about vengeance and hitting your family members. And then Rosie comes out and everyone's like, oh, this is so sweet. She's so nice. Well, just like Ellen DeGeneres, who also left the country, she was nasty, just nasty to everybody. A mean, evil person like Ellen. So when Trump got elected, Rosie decided to actually leave the country. She went to Ireland. So that's their problem. That's, Rosie O'Donnell. I apologize constantly to the Emerald Isle over there in the UK about Rosie. I think Rosie might be the second worst thing we've ever dropped on a country, on a foreign nation. So she's over there, but she'll still bash America, just like Bruce Springsteen. You know what used to really be against the unwritten rules? That if you're an American and you go overseas, especially if you're a person of note, a celebrity or a politician, you didn't talk ill of America, regardless of your ideology. You didn't go to a foreign country and start bashing the United States of America. And now, of course, any decorum has just been thrown out the window as far as these unwritten rules that we used to have. Seeing people drop F-bombs in the House chamber and in the hallways of the Capitol, and they talk to these politicians, and they think it gives them this commonality to blue-collar workers. Look at me. I'm Pete Buttigieg, and I'm dropping some F-bombs. No, it comes off as classless, and we want a little decorum. You know, we want our leaders to act respectful. And then I know people turn around and say, well, what about Trump? Trump would do these rallies or he gets up there and says something's BS. Well, it at least has to be part of your personality. If you're going to do it, look, Donald Trump, I remember Trump from the 70s and 80s, the developer Trump, the land developer and builder. This is a guy who's building skyscrapers in Manhattan in the 80s. He had to sit down with the actual representatives of the 5 families to get a teaspoon of cement to move in New York City back then. So when he uses some language like that, he always has. And it comes off as very natural and who he is. When you see like Swalwell cursing now all of a sudden, it's because they think, well, Trump curses, so we'll do it, and it'll make us, it'll endear us with the blue collar workers. No, it makes you look stupid. It's like, you see someone, the Marlboro man, looking cool, smoking a cigarette, so you grab one at 13 and think you look cool. No, you don't. You look like an idiot, just like Swalwell does when he's cursing. Or Jasmine Crockett. Yuck. Anyway, where was I? Oh, Rosie O'Donnell. Yeah, so she, like Kira Sedgwick, is also I'm very frightened, very scared my rights are being taken away, along with my shoes and my glasses. She doesn't understand. You're out of the country. First of all, what do you care? You're Ireland's problem now. But here she is voicing her fears. She looks terrible. She's Rosie Ozempic now. That's her name. She's got that Ozempic look, all drawn and gaunt because they lost weight with some kind of magic elixir. And it just makes people look terrible. But Rosie Ozempic, here she is, scared of the big, beautiful bill. Go ahead.
So many marginalized people in our nation, millions of people are going to go hungry. Millions of people are going to die early for not getting their medication.
What?
Millions of people are going to suffer as a result of the big, beautiful bill. So for God's sakes, call your senators right now and tell them, talk to some Republicans, get the ones you've known for years and take them out to lunch and go, listen, dude, do you get this? Do you have a grandmother? Do you know what this is going to do to all the elderly in this country? Do you have any understanding of what's at stake? This is the most blatantly corrupt thing that Mango Mussolini has ever come up with. Honestly. Very infuriating.
Very infuriating. She sounds like the definition of depression. Look up depression and then shut your eyes. You'll hear Rosie's voice. I don't know. What about your grandparents? What about them? All the elderly are going to die. What? Again, just this over-the-top hyperbole nonsense. And it just eats at these people. It gets inside them and eats at them. And someone like Rosie, because I absolutely believe, in my professional opinion, as a doctor of psychology, I scrolled a few times about psychology on my phone, so that in 2025 makes me a doctor of psychology. I think she is certifiably insane. I think she's nuts. I would use the bat-ass crazy thing on any other program but one regulated by the FCC. But yeah, bat-ass crazy. And where does she get this from? Her and Kira Sedgwick. Give me one example. One of your elderly relatives, a friend you know, anyone. Please tell me when they go out to their mailbox, they take their walker, They got the little tennis balls on the front of their walker, and they make that long trek from the front door to the mailbox, hoping a grandchild has written them a letter like it's 1960. Or they unfold their Hurricane, the good one with the headlight on it, and they make that treacherous journey to the mailbox. And they go, oh, where's my Social Security check? When that happens, please, Kira, Rosie, all these other imbeciles, let me know. Inform me. Send a news crew to their house and go, I couldn't find my Social Security check. Because odds are some diversity may have come by and taken your check. But I don't think it's Trump stealing your Social Security check. Same thing with Medicaid. Same thing with VA benefits. The Veterans Administration needs cuts. There are 10 people doing the job of every one person could do. They are a bloated, bureaucratic disaster, the VA. And it's been terrible for the veterans that need help and need medical care because there's so many redundancies in there and so much red tape because everyone's got to justify their job. So instead of a veteran needing something and going through one person that makes a decision, they go, oh, well, we got to run this through 10 offices on this floor and then another 10 downstairs. And, people die in the interim. And those are cuts that need to be made for the better of everyone, American taxpayers, the veterans. And that's what they're doing. But my God, what an awful campaign ad that would make. Hey, wow, Trump is really cutting the corruption and waste in our government, and it's helping people on Medicaid and VA. I don't think they want to do that. So they have to frame it as if it's this terrible thing, and he's taking checks away from the elderly. He's leaving our brave veterans to writhe in pain in their beds. And children are starving. I mean, he's cut prescription drug prices up to 80%. Every politician knew this was a way to screw America. People go down in Mexico. They go to Tijuana if you're in California, and you buy prescription drugs because they're cheaper. And no one ever said, why? Why are they cheaper? Not on the black market. You're not buying it from a cartel. What do you need, penicillin? You're buying it from a pharmacy in Mexico or any other nation or city overseas. Why in America do we pay thousands of dollars for a prescription that you get overseas for $10? Well, because everyone looks at America like the world's ATM and that we could be the ones to screw over, and no one's ever argued. And then you get Donald Trump and Elon and company, and they go, yeah, let's do something about this. And what do the Democrats do? Crap all over it. Why? Because they want to win elections. That's all it is. They can't say it's a good idea, but you people should have some common sense and realize that this is a good thing. And don't listen to Hollywood and people like Rosie and Kira Sedgwick. All right, we'll take a quick break. Anthony Cumia sitting in for Bill O'Reilly on Common Sense. We'll be back in moments.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Meta AI is the personal AI to help you with whatever you need. Plus, it meets you where you are. Not only is Meta AI now an app, but it's also on the apps you already know and love. Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp, and Messenger. Plus the Ray-Ban Meta glasses. It's easy to access wherever you are. So whether you're talking or texting, Meta AI is convenient to use throughout your day. Experience our newest AI that's tailored to you by downloading the Meta AI app. Try the Meta AI app today on the Apple App Store and Google Play.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Bill O'Reilly is on assignment. This is Anthony Cumia. This is Common Sense. That's sort of a, that's not quite. This is Anthony Cumia. This is Common Sense. Not many people that know me would say that. Let's go to the phones. Chris from Bethpage, Long Island. Chris, what's up?
I'm actually from Brooklyn, not Bethpage, but...
Oh, okay. Well, that does it. That's fine, too.
Well, if I may be so bold, you may not be a doctor of psychology, but as a longtime WNEW listener, former Compound Media subscriber, and a current Compound Censored subscriber,
yes, sir,
you were referred to as Professor Anthony, so I guess that's good enough.
Yes, I profess to know a little bit about a lot of things, which I think is better than knowing a lot about a little bit of things. Anyway, what's up, Chris?
Well, I encourage all the listeners to go to censor.tv and subscribe.
No, you don't have to plug. That's good. You want to talk about Kira Sedgwick?
I want to say there's no way. First of all, I didn't know Kira Sedgwick was still alive, and I don't think most other people did either. There's no way she cares about anybody going to food banks. There's no way to get Rosie Irrelevant, as you funnily called Rosie Ozempic, cares about anybody's grandmother.
They don't care. It's a way for them to get publicity. That's all they want to do. If they wanted to be left alone, all these Hollywood people, leave me alone. I want my privacy. And then they all have 18 social media accounts that they go on a daily basis and try to get some hot button issue that gets them a little heat. They're liars.
Exactly. They don't want to be left alone. They want to resurrect their dying careers and pretend they care about everybody, which is why no one cares about Hollywood, as you so appropriately started the show.
Thank you, Chris. I do appreciate the call. Yeah, Hollywood, no one cares about it. You know, the American Music Awards were last night or the night before. See, I don't even know when it was, but no one cares about award shows anymore. No one cares. We used to all gather around the old TV, the old Zenith and the big wood sarcophagus casket console and watch award shows, and you'd know the categories and the people and TV Guide used to have a checklist when the Oscars would come up. Oh, so you could check off who you thought and show your family. Oh, see, I got 3 right. We cared about these things. Now, no one even knows these award shows are on. They've gone the way of the circus and like SeaWorld and variety shows. Remember variety shows? They just put someone, here comes the Danny Thomas show. Tonight, Charo is on. And you're like, what? They put sports people with singers, with actors. And it was, for some reason in the 70s, people watched this. And it just became something that fell into the proverbial tar pit of entertainment. And rightly so. And the circus, I mean, I'm not a liberal. I think I don't even have to say this. But the harm that was bestowed upon innocent creatures of the world under this umbrella of entertainment that was the circus was dreadful. And when people finally became aware of this, the circus went away. It's archaic, ancient entertainment that no longer has a place. And award shows are the same, where we look at celebrities and go, I don't even like these people. Why do I want to watch them pal around and give each other these little statues while they tell the industry how great they are? It's ridiculous. And I think, again, like every other one of these ancient rituals, people don't care. And by the way, the AMA is the only thing I know about this is that Beyonce was named like best country music artist. She's the best country artist. Beyonce. That's all you need to know about award shows. And if you ever want to tune into another one again, but the ratings are just dying with these things. Let's see. We could take another call. One more. We'll go to Stu in Brooklyn. Stu, what's up, my friend?
Anthony, I listened to you touting the benefits of the lower cost of the meds from overseas.
Sure.
Let me tell you something that actually happened fairly recently. I'm a vet. I was getting eye drops. I looked at who was making the eye drops. The distributor happened to be the same one that they had a recall on, whose eye drops, which were made in India, were responsible for killing 3 people and blinding 20.
Okay.
Well, being curious, I went into the weeds and looked at the company. In India, if you're not buying a product that's made and distributed in India, there is absolutely no FDA equivalent.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it.
Was using filthy, almost sewage water.
Yes.
Now, that's typical of the third world. Something else I will tell you. When I was working as a maritime counterterrorism specialist, and they wanted to know about all the technology, I laughed at them. They said, "What's so funny?" I said, "You can have the most advanced technology in the world. You're in the third world. A few dead presidents will get you past all your technology."
Right.
It's totally corrupt. There's no oversight on, I think, the actual figure of what the FDA does look at of all these drugs and products made overseas, 3%. So the next time you see something distributed, if it's made overseas, you're basically playing Russian roulette with your body.
Interesting
it's the
take.
reason why you're paying more for American drugs.
I get it, Stu. Interesting take. I guess you have to, obviously, if you're going to look elsewhere than the United States to buying prescription drugs, you do have to weigh the risk with the reward and look. And, something could be dirt cheap. But like you said, if it looks like anything like the food that they make on the streets in India, you don't want to put anything like that in your body. But I believe they're talking about American drug companies that distribute drugs to foreign nations, and the price is a lot lower than it is here in America. And in that circumstance, I think we could absolutely do better here in this country. But thank you, Stu. And we're going to take a quick break. We'll be back to wrap up with Common Sense. Anthony Cumia sitting in for Bill O'Reilly. Back in a minute.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
My favorite thing about Shipt since I signed up for Target Circle 360? No price markups when I order same-day delivery from tons of local stores. Only a handful of alcohol retailers and items don't count. I won't lie, I've had too much fun being like, markups on groceries? Not in my fridge. Markups on pet food? Not for my DOG. Markups on tools, electronics, home goods, meds? Not in my house. Anyway, it's awesome. Order now at shipt.com/360. Terms apply.
It's the Anthony Cumia Show.
Entertaining and informative.
On the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Anthony Cumia in for Bill O'Reilly. This is Common Sense. And one thing I wanted to touch on before we leave. Democrats, here's a story. Democrats spending millions to learn how to speak to American men and win back the working class. This is... I don't even know how to describe how funny and ridiculous this is, that they need to spend millions of dollars. I believe it's $20 million to figure out how to speak to American men. I could save you a little money and let you know that what you've been doing isn't the way to do it. That's for sure. Calling your basic, straight American man the worst thing that has ever inhabited the planet. That might have caused a bit of a rift between the Democrats and American men, real men, parading out the most milquetoast, beta, wimpy, pseudo men. And having them represent the Democrats as the male demographic, yeah, that didn't help either. You've villainized men. You've told young men that they are the problem. Every problem that is being faced by the world these days is because of men. So these guys growing up look at that and they listen to it and they say, how about you go screw? How about I don't want to listen to you? Why would I vote for you? Why would I listen to your platform when you've put the blame for every ill in this country on me? And now they realize it, and they've seen, they see Trump. He's definitely has a rapport with American men. And the podcasts, Joe Rogan, Theo Vaughn, all these podcasts that they were complaining that Trump and Elon were going on and doing very well and getting accolades from men. And they're like, wow, how do we do that? It's always, how do we do that? And then it's this parody version, this cartoon version of what the right, Republicans, conservatives, Trump, what they do naturally, what we do on a daily basis, how we talk to our friends, how we don't get offended by every little joke that's made because we're men. It's called busting balls. That's what they call it. And friends do it all the time and they don't get offended. That's what it is to be a man in this country. And the thought that the Democrats think they could put $20 million on the table and get some kind of answer as to how they should talk to men is, again, a parody. It's a joke. It's a goof. They're idiots. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. I'll be back tomorrow, again, filling in for Bill O'Reilly. Common Sense. I want to thank everybody there at the WABC studios for helping me out. And I want to thank you, the fine people listening to this program, my program, every Sunday night at 8 p.m. on WABC Radio. And I appreciate it. And like I said, we'll be back tomorrow. Tune in then. Until then, have yourselves a great evening.
77 WABC invites you to a family fun day and softball showdown on July 20th with net proceeds benefiting Shriners Children's. John Sterling will call the game as the FDNY takes on the NYPD with special guests Dwight Gooden, Art Shamsky, 77 WABC hosts including Sid Rosenberg, Anthony Cumia, Lionel, Dominic Carter, and many more. For more info and to buy tickets, go to ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org. That's ShrinersChildren'sChampions.org.